welcome to Incoming, the video podcast that takes a look back at the week's historical miniature releases. This is episode 22, which looks back at the releases for week ending the 6th of November 2009, and I'm Neil Shook. Well, it's been a bit of a busier week for historical miniatures this week, so several to show you, and we do indeed have a top 10. So we'll get right in, and starting off at number 10, we have a set of new releases from Artizan. And these are actually policemen, actually more to the point, English policemen. And these are really kind of styled in their pulp miniatures range. And indeed, along with the releases of policemen, they have a general figure as well. It's called General Clearwell. A nice little set of releases for Artizan this week. 1940s style policemen are not a subject that's covered very often. So it's nice to have a few new figures available for this particular period. Number 9, and a new name for a new range, Emil Horkey. The range is quite interesting. It's 1930s Czechoslovakian army, but the sculptor's an old friend, and that's Paul Hicks. Obviously a sculpting style that you'll have come to know really well if you've been collecting any of the bolt action ranges over the years, and he's done another fine job of these. Certainly an unusual subject. It will be interesting to see what else is going to be available in this particular range. Number 8, a company I featured a few weeks ago. This is Cavalcade Wargames. And the first of a couple of sets of figures for the French Indian War. And indeed they both feature Rogers Rangers. Probably one of the most famous units from the French Indian War. These are a set of Rangers in snow gear, which is not something you normally see. So something unusual from Cavalcade. And staying with the French Indian War, we have some releases from a new company, that's Galloping Major Wargames. They're releasing both Rangers and Huron Indians, and here are some painted examples of what's coming up. Some very nice looking sculpts here, so lots to look forward to at the moment if you happen to be a French Indian Wars fan. At 7, we drop back in period a bit with First Corps, and this is a release of some Hussite heavy cavalry. And this is the command pack of musician, standard bearer and officer. Hopefully the rank and file will be out soon, but this is following fairly closely on the back of their other medieval range. And indeed what we've seen from First Corps recently is that has all been mounted troops and elephants. So they're really in the groove with these particular style ranges at the moment. This is another good release from them. At number 5, we finally have the release of the much anticipated pike and shot plastic cavalry range from Warlord. We've seen them on the sprues, but it's great to see painted regiments finally for the parliamentarian and royalist cavalry, and these really are good. A couple of excellent box sets which give multi-poses for riders armed with both sword, pistol and musket, and the parliamentarian cavalry, especially with their famous lobster pot helmets, are just a great looking set of figures. Number 4, and a new release from Gorgon Studios. Just a single figure release this time, but it really caught my eye. This is a character figure of the Emperor Claudius. I think it may have been the paint job that did it, but it really stood out for me. Certainly if you look at the unpainted figure, it isn't quite as remarkable, but as I say, this particular picture just leapt out at me this week. I was really impressed by it. Enough to make my number 4. Into the top 3, and at number 3, one of my favourite 15mm manufacturers, or at least when I see stuff from these, they always seem to feature very highly in my top 10. These are from Legio Heroica, and these are actually Armenian cavalry. And I'll put out my hand up here at this point and say I've no idea how historically accurate these figures are, but they certainly look the business. I mean, the miniatures are certainly stylised, but very eye-catching, and always worth a look, I think. These are no different. I'd certainly make sure that you check the rest of this range out. Excellent stuff from Legio Heroica. Into the top 2, and a very late entry, but great to see more new elephants from Aventine Miniatures. They've actually released 4 elephants in total, and they are Pyrrhic and Hellenistic, and you can see examples of both in these pictures here. Actually, for the Hellenistic elephant, there is a larger tower that will take all 3 crew inside the tower. As with what we've seen before with the Assassinid elephants, these are a great set of releases from Aventine and make great centerpieces for your army. Elephants, always evocative. Great stuff again. Really good to see these from Aventine. Which just leaves my number one, which Aventine almost took at the last minute, but it was a bit of a toss-up, but I finally decided that I still liked these figures better. These are from Empress, and they're more additions to their British filing line for their Zulu Wars range. 2 new packs, standing and kneeling with weapons ready, and these are just superbly sculpted figures. Bags of character. Excellently detailed. I don't think I've seen Empress put a foot long with their Zulu range at the moment. I was ashamed that their Natal cavalry came out while I was away, as they too were excellent. But yeah, absolutely fantastic stuff from Empress. Well worthy the number one spot for this week. Well, there were a few extra releases this week, most notably some new vehicles and crew from Company B. So if you missed them, here's my roundup of what else was released. Well, that wraps it up for another show. Before I go, just want to say a huge thank you to Zach at Tabletop Gaming News and Bill at the Miniatures page, without whose help this podcast simply wouldn't be possible. If you've enjoyed it and you'd like to see it again, then you can always visit Warboots TV. This particular podcast, along with several others, will be live streamed at the bottom of the page. You always catch up with loads of different things happening there. Well, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed the show and you've seen something you like. So until next week, happy gaming. I'll catch you soon. Bye.